Hello, my name is Colin Diaz, President and CEO for the Culver City Chamber, and wanted to take a quick second to share with you our Culver City Back to Business Toolkit. Over the last several months, we've been polling members, paying attention to our local, city, and state websites, as well as regional websites to get the most updated health, wellness, and economic information for you all. And out of that has come our Back to Business Toolkit. So this is comprised of different elements of recommendations from LA County Department of Health, Culver City's mandates and orders, the California Department of Public Health, as well as the CDC. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The initial page is just a letter from me, essentially talking about some of the items that you should be considering. So what inventory, supplies, equipment do you need to reopen? What kind of government assistance might be available? And I'm saying outside of PPP and EIDL. What kind of feedback are you getting from your employees, your customers, your vendors? Have you had any key customers and or suppliers that have been affected by this that may not be reopening? Do you need to refine connection points? How will you market? And then what online services are available to help you do that? So this packet will go through some of those things in a little bit greater detail. And then at the top where it says what's inside, that's essentially your table of contents to help you get quickly to some of the items you may want. So on the first page, it's the HR policy. This is pulled as from some excerpts from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control website. Touches on sick leave, physical distancing policies, some of the best practices that you should have, as well as reaching out to your employees and educating them on what the process will look like. We will soon host our own webinar with an HR professional that'll talk about the rehiring and restarting process from the employer to employee perspective. So pay attention to that coming out in the coming weeks and be sure to register for that. Moving on to our reopening plan. This is it's essential. In fact, in LA County, in every sector that's opened so far, it requires you to have certain protocols in place as part of your reopening plan. So this is just kind of a great one-sheeter. Wearing face masks and proper usages, which in Culver City is required. Employee body temperature, which is not required, but it can be recommended in certain sectors. Symptom monitoring, disinfecting plans, customer contact recommendations, disinfecting solutions, physical distancing, crowd control, and a whole host of others are all found on this specific page of the document. Moving forward to your actual reopening plan, this is a sample plan. So this is not a real business and not specific guidelines, but just gives you kind of an idea of how to build your own plan. And then going off of that, really once you build the plan and decide when and how you're going to reopen, it's important to communicate that with the community. And so we've started the Culver City Back to Business hashtag. We'd encourage you to do the same and utilize that. Between the city and the chamber, we're trying to identify all the businesses that have taken the steps to reopen that are allowed to, because we really want to promote that. We get probably a handful of calls daily within the chamber, and I'm sure the city gets a lot more asking, what businesses are open, where people can go. And so as we come out of this pandemic and start with the recovery and rebuilding, we want to be able to help you launch that. So first thing on here is Google. It is the largest search engine in the world. So it's important that you Google your business and make sure that the information that's on there is accurate. Do you have the proper website? Is the phone number accurate? Do you have you updated your hours? A lot of people, especially restaurants, have updated that they weren't open for in dining, or they were for delivery or not for takeout. If that's changed, you need to update that on there as well. Social media, I would venture a guess that the majority of people that are searching online through Google also have some form of social media where you can update your information on there. Look at your about page. Have you updated that? If there's any type of protocols or changes that you've made, from social distancing to your disinfecting protocol to having dividers or air filtration, whatever it is that you're doing for your business, it's important to share that with people so that they're in the know. And your about page might be a great section to do that. Also utilizing a link. So if you have a link on your website, utilizing that link in, for example, on Instagram, you can put that in the about section so people can click on that link and go directly to their information. And then your email e-blast. You've over the years, you've probably built a database that you would send normally coupons, advertisement, light communication to. This is a great opportunity to re-engage that audience, share with them what you're doing from an internal standpoint, share with them what you're doing marketing standpoint. If there's any type of specials that you're running, or a welcome back type campaign, you'd want to communicate that there. And then finally is calling your customers. As a chamber staff, we've emailed all of our members, but we've also been on a calling campaign with the help of our ambassadors and some of our board members to reach out to businesses to really see what their needs are, how we can assist with them, and then share some of the things that we're doing. And for your business, you should be doing the same thing. So if there's causes that you've been connected to, or changes that you've made to your business, if you're an office setting, maybe it's by appointment now only. I know a lot of departments in the city are doing that, and they're going to be communicating that. So from your business, you should definitely be doing the same. And then the last couple of items, run a social media contest. It doesn't have to be something big or grand. It just is about getting your business front of mind and front of center again, and letting people know that you are, in fact, open for business. Think of it as a way to re-engage customers with your brand, particularly if your brand has shifted a little bit. Obviously, looking at the health and wellness component is something that is probably more paramount for most businesses than it was in months past. And so that's a pretty important thing to highlight. And then improve your online business presence. This is something that you can definitely do through the chamber. For all of our members, you have a listing on our portal, which gives you kind of a Facebook meets LinkedIn portal with members on the back end, but on the front end to the business community and to the community as a whole, it's a searchable page for you where you can hyperlink to particular things that you're doing in your business. Chambers are viewed very highly through Google, and so it's essentially free AdWords that you have as being a member of the chamber. I would liken it to a few $100s of Google AdWords a month, excuse me. So if you are not utilizing that, you are not taking full advantage of your chamber membership. And then go live, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, but broadcast to the community that you are back, that you're open, that you are ready for customers, that you have made certain changes. As you work your way through the reopening process, though, we do want you to let us know that you're opening. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, we are trying to promote as much as we can of businesses in the community that are open, how they're trying to get with their customers, and not to sound cliche, but help us help you. In that same vein, we've created, the next few pages are 5 separate flyers, or one sheets, if you will, 8.5 by 11. We've worked with Mr. Printer, which is on Sepulveda. They are open and printing. You're, of course, welcome to do this in-house, but if you'd like to have it be done a little bit more professionally, you can send them the specific file, and we'll go through these each individually. So the first one, open for business. Again, it's important to let people know that you're open for business. So this is a one-sheeter that could sit in your window of your storefront if you've got one. It could be something that you have maybe, that you do as a badge on your website to let people know that you're open for business, or put it wherever you're going to be facing your customers and your clients. The second one is a COVID-19 notice. For example, the white box in this case could say Culver City Chamber of Commerce has a COVID-19 business plan in place. And then underneath that are check boxes for areas that you may have. So a disinfection and sanitation plan, you check that off if you had that. Physical distancing measures, you check that off. Your PPP or your PPE, and your protective gear, you'd want to have that checked off as well as your employee training, which, obviously for the heavy majority of businesses, you're going to be doing stuff differently now than you were before. And you should definitely train your staff and employees on what that looks like. And then your maximum occupancy. So if you are, for example, a restaurant that can open up to 60% capacity, and let's just say your capacity was 100%, what you would want to put for your maximum occupancy right now is 60. The reason why you may want to have multiple of these printed is that over time, specifically with restaurants and some of the other sectors like retail that have a set capacity now, as things progress, it stands to reason that the capacities would be expanded. So maybe 60% turns into 70 or 75%. So you'd want to be able to update those numbers as well. And then this sheet is really a two-way street. So it lets you know, or lets your customers know to please do their part. Wearing a mask, which is not only recommended, but required in Culver City. Leave at-risk people at home, maintaining social distancing, things of that nature. As we move to the next page, how to wear your mask. This is pulled from the CDC website. It tells you if you've got the mask with the metallic portion at the nose, how to wear it, what it should be covering, your mouth and your nose, as well as how to handle it when you're wearing it, not to touch it frequently, wash it when it gets dirty, if you have a reusable one, and then washing your hands after touching your mask, which you should be doing regularly anyways. And in line with the occupancy, you want to have a sheet like this too, which has maximum occupancy reached or maximum capacity reached. So if you happen to be retail and your maximum is 10 and you get to 9 and you want to be able to let others know that they can stand outside of your door until you're able to funnel more in, you're able to put this in the window. Please wait for a sign to be turned over so someone could come in next. So maybe you have this on one side and your max occupancy on the other, or we're open, whatever the case may be that makes sense for you. Moving forward to symptoms, this is a sheet that talks you through the difference between COVID-19, the cold, and the flu. I will start by saying that this is, you should still consult a medical physician and get a professional opinion. This is just kind of giving you symptoms and a general outlook. And again, when people are exhibiting signs of being under the weather, it's best practice to send them home, whether they be customers, employees, ensuring that they stay healthy, as well as those that are around them. And then the final sheet, and this one is probably one of the most important, is the local links and helpful links resources. So the local links, that's the culvercitychamber.com, culver-city-open-for-business. That is our COVID-19 business resource page where this packet can be found for download, as well as the individual 5 sheets that I mentioned if you decide you want to have them printed. The city is in culvercity.org/coronavirus to get information on that. You can also go to business.assist@culvercity.org. I know a lot of times we get called from businesses that have questions specifically about industries that are opening, whether they're allowed to do certain things or not, as well as whether certain industries will be opening and dates. We generally get our information from the city and the county. So if you're reaching out to us, we can definitely share that information, but you may be better served going directly to the source. And then down here, I'll work from the top or bottom up. The SBA, which is a Small Business Association, you have EIDL and PPP loans, which by now most of you should have heard of and many of you have received. Between House and the Senate, the PPP repayment and implementation process is being changed and extended. So you definitely want to go to the SBA website to make sure you have the latest updated information on that, of how to utilize those funds, when they need to be repaid, what portions are forgivable and what that looks like. Filing for unemployment, which hopefully that'll be scaling back some, but if it is a need, that's a resource that you have through the EDD. The CDC resources, which is the Center for Disease Control, which I mentioned earlier, a great website to go to kind of have overarching things as it relates to the country. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce provides pretty good COVID response website as it relates to business resources, as does the Department of Labor coronavirus resources. And then the last few, California Department of Public Health, which is California's body for public health. They inform the LA County Public Health Department, which is probably the best resource to go to. And then the final 2 resources, which we're actually going to go to briefly. So you've got the California coronavirus COVID-19 response page. And that one we will take you to here shortly. It actually will allow you to go to the website, get best practices, and so you should be seeing it now. So as you go to the page, covid19.ca.gov, kind of gives you statistics of what things look like from the state level. You'll see that it's always updated. So this is the numbers as of 6/4. But really the area that is of importance is about halfway down on the page, and it's the state reopening guides. And why that's important is if you click on state reopening, it'll take you here to this page, which is the resiliency roadmap. And you'll see that we're in stage 2, starting to move towards stage 3. Over the last couple or several weeks, you've probably heard the term county variance, and that's where counties are able to apply for a variance. So instead of moving exactly along lines with the state, you can prove or apply and prove that you're ready to reopen certain segments before the state or in a different time fashion because of the demographics, the protocols, and things that are done locally. And so when you click on county variance page, that'll take you here, which I want to show you the top of that page. So it says county variance. You can look at county metrics. You can look at all these things. But essentially, this is the entire state of California. When you go to a portion of the way through the page, you can click on LA County, and it'll update the numbers. So you'll see here the statistics of cases, reporting, testing, all those things. And then you can click on the LA County COVID-19 website, which will take you here. And you probably have seen this site at some point, the county. Again, same statistics, but for the local region. But really the part that should matter to you is where it says what you should know. And when you look here, there's an area with reopening protocols as well as reopening kits. When you click on the reopening protocols, it'll open up every section, or a sector, should I say, that is open so far. I'll scroll up slowly. So you'll see that reopening protocols. So you've got beaches, bike paths, all these things that you should be aware of by now. And in Culver City, you're getting updates as those sectors reopen. But if you want information on what that looks like and the protocols, they're available in a myriad of languages, usually 10 plus languages. So if we wanted to scroll down, for example, and look at some of the newer ones, so like office-based work sites, if you click on that, it'll take you here, and this is the protocol. So for you to reopen, you would need to protect and support employees and customer health, ensure appropriate physical distancing, ensure proper infection control, communicate with the public, and ensure equitable access to services. So a lot of these things are things that we mentioned, but you would want to download this form because you're going to need to have it actually filled out. So if you're in that sector, you would want to go to that form. Same thing if you happen to be, if you're looking at, outdoor museums, as some places have been, same thing. It has a protocol for you. If you're dining and you want to look at dining in restaurants, there's actually a full kit here that goes through step by step of what that process will look like. So it is extremely helpful piece of information, and it's definitely something that you should look at utilizing in the future. So with that, I will again state that for any information, questions, comments, concerns that you have, you can go to culvercitychamber.com, or you can go to culvercity.org and ask information. Again, business.assistance@culvercity.org is the best email address as it relates to businesses' questions related to COVID. And then info @culvercitychamber.com is the best one as it relates to information from the chamber. We'll continue to communicate. As I mentioned, we will have some back to business actual webinars with professionals in the HR field to talk about how to bring employees back, what that looks like, as well as some other programming. So for the link to this, the video to this, as well as other resources, please visit culvercitychamber.com. And you can also visit our event page to see upcoming events that'll be coming up in the future. So with that, we'll conclude our time today, and I thank you for joining.